It's the late 1930s, and Germany is preparing for war. However, unlike in our timeline, they're preparing for war not against Britain, but against the Czech Entente, made up of Romania, Czechoslovakia, and France. A new German army is still very young. It is still at this point that a majority of the German army is cavalry and motorized, with around 400,000 personnel being leg infantry. And on February 15th of 1940, the German army begins its march on Czechoslovakia with a formal declaration of war, triggering the Imperial Entente War. Early stages of the war only saw the first Imperium of Eruopa, with the Catholic Dominion not entering the war until late 1941. The Czech Entente held the advantages during the early stages of the war, having heavily fortified positions both along the Maginot Line and the defences within the Sudetenland. The opening stages of the Imperial Entente War was just a mere foreshadowing of the future wars to come, opening up with heavy bombing raids performed by the Luftwaffe. After the initial hours of the first day, it wouldn't be long before Heinrich and Manstein's armies began clashing against Sudetenland defenses. The aging Panzer II would be met with heavy casualties. It was the signification of a bloodbath soon to come. The Panzer II-C was developed originally in 1938, sharing thin armor and high mobility as other early Panzer II models. By the time of the conflict, over 1,000 Panzer II models had entered service. Within mere months of combat, over 1,000 were destroyed. The VK-3008, a tank designed alongside the Panzer II, entered service soon after the calls for something with heavier armor and a bigger gun. However, even with the reinforcements of these tanks, the heavy fortifications still continued to rack casualties. Staggering losses, the Germans began to withdraw, entering a defensive formation as the Czechoslovakian army broke out and began an assault on Vienna. Vienna would come to be the grave to hundreds of thousands on both sides. Heavy casualties, accompanied by the constant air battles above, would lead to increasing demands to push the Czech army away from Vienna. Time after time, the German army would attempt. Time after time, the German army would fail. It wouldn't be till the later months of the war, when the Italians and Yugoslavic forces finally joined the fight, that there would be a fresh enough and strong enough army group to retake Vienna. It was the 475th and 48th Infantry Divisions under the command of General Himmler that would be able to retake the city. Months after securing Vienna, the Germans began another devastating assault against the Czech forces. With the Italian front closing in Romania, Czechoslovakia found itself isolated from Bucharest and from France. The heavy fighting would only be worsened by the introduction of German heavy tank divisions. It was under the command of Erwin Rommel that new Panzer IV heavy tanks, supported by Panzer IIs and motorized infantry, would spearhead the assault, eventually taking the Czechoslovakian capital. With Romania and Czechoslovakia falling to German and Italian forces, France was left standing alone. With but months remaining in the war, Germany employs its new fearsome war machine, the Tiger tank. At the same time, a small coup in Berlin takes place, with Heinrich Himmler leading an overthrow of Chancellor Hitler, leading to the end of Hitler's reign.